Brings us to number 4, roll call. If you would, Tammy, please call.
Nathan Luna,
Here.
Nathan Sanders, Karen Ashford. Here. Chris Singleton,
Here.
Curtis George,
Here.
Eddie Mears,
Here.
Brent Brandon,
Here.
Randy Gannon,
Here.
Crystal Alexander. Here. Tony Burnett.
Here. Thank you so much. At this time, before we go any further, I'd like to recognize Wiz this evening, and I thank him so much for coming in with his beautiful wife and for being with us as Representative Michael Hay. He has something I think he wants to present, and I'm just going to let you do that if you would. Good to have you. Thank you for coming.
Good to be here. Greg, if you'll come down for just a moment. Great honor for me to be here tonight. Represent 40th District, Cannon County being one of those counties. Cannon County being one of those counties that I represent, and the only county that received this certificate. This is from the Comptroller of the Treasury of the State of Tennessee. This certificate is proudly presented to Cannon County in recognition of its clean financial and compliance audit report for the fiscal year ended June the 30th, 2022. The audit report completed by the Office of the Comptroller of the Treasury contains zero finding and is an indication of the county's strong system of internal control and exemplary financial reporting in accordance with the generally accepted accounting principles, and it's signed by our Comptroller of the Treasury, Jason Umpire. So I want to commend the county. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. It's not just one person that does this. It's you as a legislative body for the county. It's previous people that work that accomplish this. So on behalf of the Comptroller and the state of Tennessee, it's my honor to present you with the certificate, County of Cannon County.
Good job. Thank you so much, Representative. Thank you for coming and being with us today, and we so appreciate that. Thank you to you and your lovely wife. I know she's one that keeps you straight.
Mr. Chairman, also at this time, I'd like to recognize Ms. Diane Hickman, who is over our finance department, and
Yeah.
Mr. Neil Applebaum.
Yeah.
With a great job.
Very much so. I tell you, again, I want to thank you for coming, Representative Naomi. Thank you for taking your time to come and present that to us. We're proud of that, and thank you for setting aside time to come. Like you said, it's a combined effort. It's not a one-person deal. Nothing we do is a one-person deal in government. It's got to be a cooperation. You got to be working together to make it happen. And a whole lot of prayer. Thank you, sir. So, appreciate you. All right. Which brings us to number 5, approve change agenda.
No changes. I make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Got a motion to approve agenda as is. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner George. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Number 6, consent agenda. Approve meeting minutes. April 6th, 2023. Approve notaries. I don't think we have any, do we?
Have one.
We have one.
Nathan Sanders.
Nathan Sanders. I'll entertain a motion
I'll make a motion.
to approve both.
Approve both.
Got a motion to approve both the meeting minutes of April 6th and approve notaries, which is Nathan Sanders. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any debate? All in favor, aye. All opposed. Which brings us to number 7, public comment period concerning agenda items, 15 minutes. And we'll start here. Right over here. Start here. Anybody? Anything? Come on. If you would, please step up there, Jerry, and state your name.
Well, good evening. My official name is Ronald Reagan. I'm not a politician. I go by Terry. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to speak to this austere group. I don't have any affiliation with the school system. I have been appointed to be on the budget committee. And I was appointed to be on that committee because I have experience with budgets and finance, have for all my life. So I came to this position with a little apprehension. And then when I looked at the budget, I thought, my goodness, this is an amazing budget. More pages than you can count. But I'm not here to talk about that specifically. I'm simply here to inform you of what my observations regarding the budgeting process for our school system is. However, I'm speaking to the commission, have been elected to represent your districts. And with this, you're expected to be informed so that you can educate your electorate as to what the needs of our community are. In this regard, you have a responsibility to be informed. Now, this commission has placed 2 members of your commission on the budget committee. One of those members has been a faithful attendee. And I hope that, and I'm sure that the findings and the observations made by those representatives have been communicated to you as a commission. As you know, our Board of Education has issues and uncertainty. But you too have issues and uncertainty. But as a community, we need to be united in our pursuit of excellence for our children as well as for our community. We cannot be governed by the past. Our focus must be on the future. You as a commission have not made any promises to the public about sunsetting the wheel tax. This commission has not done that. Maybe 20 years ago they may have, but this commission hasn't. As you are well aware, the Board of Education has embarked on a consolidation program and establishing a 3-school system. Elementary, middle, and high school. Now the board knows, and y'all know, that there just simply is not money to build a middle school. It's just not there. But the hope and the direction is that we accomplish a 3-school system. We're almost there. Now, the board has been able to fund an addition of 8 classrooms at the grammar school. They have funded that out of their monies. But they are spending it fast. They've not had to come back and ask for more. To sunset the wheel tax is doing to the school system what was just done to the community swimming pool. There simply is not money in the budget to fund any capital improvements. There is barely money in there, if hardly any at all in there, to fund just normal maintenance. We've got two schools, one built in the 50s and one built in the 60s. Now, I know you know math, and that puts them at an average of 65 years old. Now, if you put the wheel tax on a referendum, it's going to be voted down. Now, you as a commission have the authority to put the wheel tax on or to reestablish a wheel tax. You have that authority, and you know that. Now, I know that y'all are between a rock and a hard place. I know that you're having to build a jail. And I know that you really want to do what's best for the school system as well. This is a difficult decision that y'all are in. It's a difficult place to be. But together, the Board of Education and you as a commission, we need to find common ground to work together and find a better way to serve the needs of our community. We cannot be governed by the past. Today and tomorrow are not promised. But we as adults must make a way for our children to advance, to prosper, and to stay here. Our community will grow if we have a good school system and if we have a good police department, including the sheriff, of course. Without these two, we will not prosper and we will not grow.
Thank you, Terry. We're going to have to move on. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Thank you. Anybody else over here? Thank you, Terry. What about here? Anybody in this section? Yes, Bill. Please come and state your name.
I really didn't want to speak tonight. I was hoping y'all would speak for me. I appreciate Mr. Reagan. His neighbor, he's a very good citizen of this county. But our people approved this wheel tax on the promise that it went away in 25 years or when we paid it off. It is only through political doublespeak that we're now talking about extending it by extending loans that we didn't approve. That will be remembered when the next election comes up. That certain commissioners, certain people voted to double talk and put this wheel tax for another unknown number of years. And for as long as they can extend this wheel tax. You want to do it right. Put this on the agenda, the next ballot, and put another wheel tax on there. You think that's right? That's the right way to do it. It is not the right way to do it to use this language in the original ballot that was advertised was the exact opposite, to extend a $40 wheel tax that we didn't approve. You want a wheel tax for the jail, you want a wheel tax for the schools. This is the same thing the Board of Education did like 2 years ago. They decided that regardless of what the people wanted, they would go ahead and go with the free school system. Even though our people told them, we don't want that. We want to keep our local grammar schools. And they still closed them down. They closed down the ones that fought the hardest because they knew the others would fold. So if you want to be representatives of the people, put that vote back to the ballot. If you want to have a wheel tax, put another one on it. But then the better thing would be, just go ahead and pay it off. You've got the money. Just go ahead and pay off the debt. Put an end to the wheel tax now. Stop paying interest on that debt. We've got two great people over here that run our finance department in a manner that brought us state accolades from the representative. They're doing a great job. But the only thing I do is report that we're spending the money the way we say we're spending the money, the way you say we're spending the money. They can't say we're spending it the best way. And the best way is not paying interest on a loan that we don't need to have, that we have the money to pay off. Thank you.
Anyone else? Come on, Mark. Please state your name, sir. I believe probably everybody knows you.
Yes, my name is Mark Barker. I'm a citizen in the first district. And I was asked by one of my first district elected officials to come and address this agenda item about the $40 wheel tax. As most of you know, I have sat where you are sitting, and I know that sometimes you have to make choices that are difficult. But I urge you to work with the Board of Education for the betterment of all of us, taxpayers and grandparents, parents, students, because the Board of Education oversees a large portion of the county's budget. And always remember, when you're working as the county commissioner, when we said that Pledge of Allegiance, we pledged to the United States of America. It's not the United Counties of America. Cannon County is a unit of the state of Tennessee. We have to abide by the authority that they hand down to us. The reason that we take minutes of our meetings and approve them at the next meeting is so that we don't have to depend on the memory of something 24 years ago or something like that. Consult the minutes and consult what was passed on the ballots also. I would say as a taxpayer that the $40 wheel tax is not burdensome, but I do agree that it needs to be done with what it said it was going to be done. It has provided for these years an even flow of funding to pay for school buildings. But I would certainly not, in an economic climate of rising interest rates, pay off something early just because I had the money. I urge you to consult CTAS also before making any decision. Don't consult me or anybody else. Consult CTAS and see what your options are. And if anything is put on a ballot, and maybe it should be put on the ballot again, but it should be explained carefully, and it should be plain in what the goal is. Cannon County could no longer afford to run as many school locations as we were running. We have seen that economic inflation over the last 25, 30 years, a $40 wheel tax is not near as much as it was in 1999. And so I urge you to consider a balanced approach to fund the needs of the school system. A property tax, a sales tax, and a wheel tax have all been a good way for us to fund our school system. And Representative Gold, you as county commissioners are given the authority to provide the services that are mandated already by the state of Tennessee, plus whatever that you think is best for the majority of your citizens, young and old, rich and poor, to provide the bare minimum should not even be considered as an option. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mark. How about over here?
My name is Teresa Paul. I have been a Kenny County citizen for 7 years now. I have been teaching at the middle school this past year. I was asked if I would consider speaking. I said, yeah, sure, if you tell me what to say. And then they said, no, we're not going to do that. I said, oh, okay. So I'm going to speak from the heart. And I think the wheel tax should continue to go on. We need a middle school, and I think that that is what the wheel tax should be used to fund. I did a survey earlier today and sent it out to all the middle school students and said, do you like having the middle school and the elementary school in the same building? And about 72% of them said no, that they don't like being in the same building. From a teacher's standpoint, I do not like them being in the same building. From a parent standpoint, kind of do and I kind of don't. My son is in first grade, and so I like being able to see him in the hallway as he goes to class, and we see a little "I love you" sign. But I also don't like the fact that he is using the bathroom with 8th grade boys. I don't like the fact that he could potentially see vapes in the hallway. He can see a boyfriend and girlfriend holding hands, kissing, doing what they do, and we break that up as best we can, but the potential is there that he is seeing that. And kids that young should not be in the same building as a middle school. On another note, the middle school does not have the space to do what middle schoolers should have the opportunity to do. When I was in middle school, I was able to take electives, and I was able to take creative writing. I was able to take gardening if I wanted to. I was able to take wood shop if I wanted to. I was able to take home ec. I was able to take all these other things, yet our kids can't do that because there's not the space. If you know anything about the middle school and the elementary school, lunch starts at 10:30, it ends at 1. My students have 22 minutes to eat lunch because there is not the space to have the elementary and the middle school in separate cafeterias. I don't know about you, but it is very hard to eat in 22 minutes, especially when I have to get my kids up there, then I have to go get my food, and then I have to go get them back to class. So I have even less time to eat, and my son is eating at 10:30, and so he's having a snack, ravished, hungry when he gets home from school. We need a middle school, and this wheel tax will help do that. I'm not sure of the gentleman's name, but when he prayed, he said to help the commission do what was best for the county. And what's best for the county is to keep the wheel tax going so that we can provide for our students. Someone asked me the other day how the middle school was doing. I said, we're surviving because we are. Our students deserve to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else over here, because we're gonna have to wrap it up here in a minute. Thank you, name, sir.
I'm Donald Corley. And as far as the wheel tax, if anything, I think it's gonna replace it. Because our kids is very important to everybody. Our kids is competing against other kids in other counties that's got a lot better systems. They've got tablets, they've got computers, and, they've got different selective and stuff that they can do. And it's either put it on the wheel tax or put it on the property tax, cause it ain't nothing else you can put it on. And everybody drives a car. We've got a lot of people that come out of county and get their tags cause they can't go through emissions. And you're gonna have a lot of people up here at Woodbury that don't have property and they don't pay property taxes and they drive. And, but, the whole point of it is the children. And the children is the most thing, it is the most critical thing that's done. I know a lot of people won't take the tax off because they said they was gonna take it off. But you need to take it off as a wheel tax and put it on property tax. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Anyone else? All right. West End's public comment period. Thank y'all so much for coming. Moves us to number 8, whole business tabled items. There'll be no audit committee report. David Faulkner, chairman of the audit committee, had something else he had to attend. So we'll go into approved funding for community center roof. Diane, you want that?
You also, if you have any questions about it, we're asking for approval to spend the remainder of the money, $200,500 out of the ARP money.
It's only one bid.
Last time, we bid it out about 4 times.
I'm going to take a motion. Any can?
Here, the guy that got.
The one to be
5 is here.
with Richland Engines.
Diane, how much is coming from the ARP money?
$200,500. So we already have 305 from the governor's recovering the building money that we got last year, year before. We set that aside, but that's not going to be enough to cover it.
Everybody's in shock.
What say y'all?
I move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion to approve funding for the community center roof. Got a second. Who was that? Richard Burnett. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Nathan Luna,
Yes.
Nathan Sanders,
Yes.
Karen Ashford,
Yes.
Chris Singleton,
Yes.
Curtis George,
Yes.
Eddie Mears,
Yes.
Brent Brandon,
Yes.
Randy Gannon,
Yes.
Crystal Alexander,
Yes.
and Tony Burnett.
Yes.
10-4, 0 against.
Passes. Number 9, approval of sale of diving boards and lifeguard stand.
Got a buyer?
Not yet. We will see.
Are they safe?
Yes. At one time, it's been a few years ago, so they was talking about that somebody wanted to buy them, and I forgot what the price was. I'm sure somebody.
Make a motion to approve the selling of the diving board and lifeguard stand.
Second.
You got a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is a declared surplus.
Yes. Yes. All right, do I have any discussion? Call the roll.
Nathan Luna,
Yes.
Nathan Sanders,
Yes.
Karen Ashford,
Yes.
Chris Singleton,
Yes.
Curtis George,
Yes.
Eddie Mears,
Yes.
Brent Brandon,
Yes.
Randy Gannon,
Yes.
Crystal Alexander,
Yes.
Tony Burnett,
Yes.
10-4, 0 against, motion passed.
You. Number 10, Judge Matt Calvin here to discuss recovery court. Judge?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'll try to be brief. I know you've got a lot on the agenda tonight. so-
You go ahead, sir.
Thank you, members of the commission, for letting me come tonight. I'm here on behalf of the concept of the recovery court in Cannon County. And currently, we don't have a recovery court. We're technically tied in with the Rutherford County Recovery Court. But I'll give you just a few statistics here that found that from the National Association of Drug Professionals. In 2016, 72,000 estimated Americans died of drug overdose. 2/3 of all fatal drug overdoses in the U.S. are due to opioids. 65% of all U.S. inmates have a substance use disorder. And currently in the United States, we spend at least $80 billion annually on incarceration. And then you get to Cannon County, and just in my short time on the bench, I have seen so many situations where folks want help, and we really don't have any way to help them. And what we do is we have this shotgun approach where if we can find a treatment center to send them to, I'll approve the furlough in General Sessions Court. We send them off, and we just hope that it sticks and something goes well. Oftentimes they leave, there's no follow-up, and it makes it hard on me, it makes it hard on the district attorney's office, public defender's office, and everyone to try to help them give them meaningful help. And then in the juvenile courts, I don't know, I would estimate 2/3 of my juvenile cases started with some kind of drug issue. And I see folks that want help, and they get deeper and deeper in costs and fines and Department of Children's Services requirements, and there's just not a way to dig out of that without help. So, I don't know if it's just, my experience or, maybe it's just, hearing the members of the community that share these concerns. It's really been laid on my heart to try to get a recovery court in Cannon County. And that's my major goal for my first term here as your General Sessions Judge. So, folks that are with us tonight, would you stand up if you're here tonight in support of recovery court? Now, as I always say, a good lawyer brings a bunch of people with him to court. But no, these folks, many of whom are members of the Cannon County Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition, you all can see, appreciate it. I go to these meetings and I realize we've got all these needs. Folks, these are our family members, our friends, these are our neighbors. We've all had folks that have been affected close to us by overdose or a drug addiction. So it's really become part of my heart and my message and my goal to get a recovery court in Cannon County. And kind of what that would look like initially would be, we would hire an interim director if this is approved by you all, a case manager. We have someone who has volunteered to be our interim director at no cost to the county. That's Jessica Duncan of our probation office. A case manager, if approved tonight, I believe could be funded at least 2 years by funds that have been identified from the Drug and Alcohol Fund. And these funds have now been approved to send to you all for your approval from the Budget Committee. And I appreciate the Budget Committee doing that. So we identified $103,000 in this fund that could be used for recovery court. So I want to thank the Budget Committee, and I'm sorry 3 of you I know are on the Budget Committee, and I'm sorry you have to do my bill again tonight. But what recovery courts do is essentially we're putting folks in recovery court to say, okay, if you complete all the tiers of the system, we're going to give you inpatient, outpatient, whatever treatment is you need. Each case is individual. And if you complete these steps, we're looking at getting you gainful employment. We're trying to reunite you with your families to get you back to a normal sense of life and purpose and getting you plugged back into the community. And generally what will happen is court costs, fines are greatly reduced. Sometimes criminal charges are dismissed in certain cases, or your probation sentence will be greatly short. Now, this does not apply to violent offenders. This does not apply to drug dealers. These are people who have an identified source of addiction, who genuinely want the help. It's voluntary, totally voluntary. So, I'm here asking you tonight to, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, to essentially give me the blessing to start this program. This is not something I want to do unless all three branches of our local government are in agreement. I, as a judicial branch, I know I won't speak for you, Mr. Chairman, but I believe County Executive Mitchell is in support of this.
Yes, sir.
This is something that this is a holistic change to our judicial system, and I would want all of the people's elected representatives to be part of this before we go forward. So essentially, I'm seeking tonight a blessing from you all, an vote of affirmation, if you will, to allow me to start this court. I'm also seeking approval for me to hire an advisory, it's going to be paid, but to appoint an advisory board to start this. And I wanted you all to know what my plan for those funds would be. That plan is to hire a case manager. And as I said, the budget committee's already touched on this. This will be in front of you all in a couple of months. I just want to be transparent on that. So that is my request tonight. I would appreciate any consideration you could give to recovery court. And I'll tell you, our friends in Warren County, for example, have had this in place for a while. And they're picky, they're selective on who they put in the program. But I'll tell you right now, they have a 76% success rate with their program. And I think there's no reason why we couldn't do that here. We currently send funds that are collected from our people to Rutherford County. And I'm not saying we don't send folks to Rutherford County. I've sent probably 4 or 5 since I've been on the bench. But those funds that are collected need to be coming back to Cannon County, in my estimation, for our people. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think, as I told the budget committee Tuesday, I think we'll see my juvenile dockets greatly reduced eventually if this is in place. So I'm not here asking for any addition to my salary tonight. The administrative office of the courts does not impose any mandate for a judge's salary to be raised. So I'm adding this to my dockets. I'm taking this time away from my private practice because this is my heart. I believe this is my calling as your judge. And I want to do this for our citizens and hopefully get some folks healthy, get them clean, and save some lives here. So I'm happy with that to answer any questions you have, and I appreciate your continual support of our courts and we have there.
Thank you so much, Judge.
It's my understanding also, this could lead to grants.
I'm sorry,
Really, it
yes.
doesn't take a great amount of people
So
to start qualifying for it.
that's a good point, Commissioner Gann, and I failed to mention that. So my belief is, based on folks that have been doing this a lot longer than I have, is that this will almost completely be funded by grants, state grants, because of every court cost for a county that has recovery court, $75 fee is attached, $5 goes to the state, $70 comes back into a fund. But in addition to that, that $5 goes into a pool that the state creates grants with. There's a lot of federal grants. I've been told by a mentor in this endeavor, who's a retired mental health court judge in Nashville, that once this is started, you can say it started. Now, state and federal government, please help us with the funding. And I know this association that I referenced earlier say that on average, there's up to $27 return. So I think we'll get to a point where I'm not having to come back and ask for anything. So I think that's a good point. And if not, if it's not funded, it goes away. I mean, it can't operate without funds, without that. So I don't know if there's any risk there.
Any more questions? Thank you, Judge Callen.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Are the votes?
We are.
Okay.
We ask for a motion.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
I'd like to make a motion to start recovery court.
Second.
Got a motion to pursue recovery court, got a second, by Commissioner Mears.
Nathan Luna,
Yes.
Nathan Sanders,
Yes.
Karen Ashford.
Yes.
Chris Singleton,
Yes.
Curtis George,
Yes.
Eddie Mears,
Yes.
Brent Brandon,
Yes.
Randy Gannon,
Yes.
Crystal Alexander, and Tony Burnett.
Yes.
Motion passed 10-0.
I think it's an amazing thing. I remember seeing Rutherford County come before us and attended that meeting, and it was also a success. And it's hard to beat a success, ain't it? Anyway. All right, that brings us to 11, approved settlement of Burnett Pitts cases.
I make a motion to approve.
Approved. Got a motion to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second, what was that at?
Either Mayor Karen. Whoever.
Pick one.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Nathan Luna,
Yes.
Nathan Sanders,
Yes.
Karen Ashford. Yes. Chris Singleton,
Yes.
Curtis George,
Yes.
Eddie Mears,
Yes.
Brent Brandon,
Yes.
Randy Gannon,
On the advice of our lawyers, yes.
Crystal Alexander,
Yes.
Tony Burnett.
Pass.
Motion passed 9-4, one pass.
Number 12, approve resolution 2023-15, source well purchasing. Okay,
Similar to buying off the state contract. Cooperative, we're gonna get things, cheaper, and we just have to have a resolution passed. They don't require it, the county audit. Like, state.
The state uses them all the time, and we are, from the state's purchasing perspective, we are already cleared to use them, but audit wants us to have a resolution from you guys to give us permission in writing.
and we would like for, Representative Hale to come back and give us another one in presentation.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-15, which is authorizing the Kennet County to participate in the source well purchasing.
I've got a motion to approve resolution 2023-15, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner George, any discussion? All in, well, let's call it.
Nathan Luna,
Yes.
Nathan Sanders,
Yes.
Karen Ashford.
Yes.
Chris Singleton,
Yes.
Curtis George,
Yes.
Eddie Mears,
Yes.
Brent Brandon,
Yes.
Randy Gannon,
Yes.
Crystal Alexander,
Yes.
and Tony Burnett.
Yes.
Motion passed 10-4 against.
Thank you. Number 13, approved by the Sheriff's Department copier lease agreement.
So we've used the same company for, several offices, and we just now the sheriff's. We've had great, work with them. They, provide all the ink for the machines, so, and they come out of Murfreesboro.
Darrell, are you satisfied with these folks?
They haven't started yet.
They
We
haven't
haven't
started?
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the copier lease.
Second.
Got a motion to approve the Sheriff's Department copier lease agreement. Got a second. Commissioner Singleton, any discussion?
Let me ask a question like this. Do you feel this will suit your needs?
Then the rest of them all good.
We're
looking
Had a
forward
chance
to
to
it.
look, okay.
All in favor, aye? All opposed? Number 14, approved jail workshop date and time.
We have a date, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a date?
No, we do not have, I think we need to find it. Correct? Huh?
Talk and then the date that may play into what date.
You will come,
I think I'm next on the
Mr.
agenda.
Tricia Wild, you sure are.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm just gonna give a brief update on what has been done on the jail assessment. I was here in November. You should have just a brief report that, was sent out. I said I was here in December, and, I reported at that time that the jail needs assessment was going to be done by CTAS, and it was probably going to be done in April, and it is done, and the report was released in draft form on April the 7th. I just want to make sure that the committee understands that the needs assessment done by CTAS is focusing on the jail needs, and the jail needs of the future, not necessarily your entire criminal justice system. So with that said, the report went to the Law Enforcement Committee and the Community Corrections Advisory Board for a review to see if they wanted to send it on to the county commission for review and discussion. It's a 46-page report, so it is not an easy read. It is loaded with numbers, and it is, I received it the same day as actually I sent it out to all the board members. And as a result of that meeting, the commission members that were on those committees, Mr. Brandon and Mr. Gannon and Mr. Luna, felt as though prior to it coming to the commission, there needed to be a workshop. And what I'm recommending is that not only is that jail assessment to be reviewed at the workshop, but also we need to review some other things. Just what the judge just said about the drug recovery court. The needs assessment done by CTAS are numbers that represent what's going to happen over the next 20 years if this county doesn't do anything different. So it's a more of a worst case scenario. And so I'm recommending for this workshop that we look at CTAS report, and Jim will be telling you about what's it going to look like 20 years down the road. It's actually, the numbers kind of level out after about 5 or 6 years for the next 15 years, but it also, there are things that this county can do, and there's things that are already being done. Like the judge said, the drug recovery courts, they are very successful, very successful. But also, so are diversion programs, and we don't use a lot of diversion programs, but they are out there. We could probably even be using probation more. But the one thing that I am hoping that I can bring some more light on, and I've talked to Jim Hart about it, but he and I haven't been able to get together enough. He notes in his report that another challenge with technology, as previously mentioned in this report, is the questionable data being provided out of the jail management system covering the period of 2015 to 2019. According to the jail, data in the old system is no longer accessible. What I'd like a little time to do before you all meet is to get together with the folks in the jail, the sheriff, and whoever he wants me to work with, to find out how we can get that data. Apparently and I've talked to Jim, and Jim doesn't have a great understanding of it either. Apparently when they went to a new jail management system, old data was not transferred over, or it couldn't be transferred over. The sheriff might be able to talk about that more than I can. But with that huge block of data that even CTAS says may not be reliable, you all want to be looking at the most reliable data you have before you start making decisions one way or the other on what direction we go forward.
Jim seems to think that we still might be able to get hard copies. I personally think we should try. So normally when you go from one system to another, part of that contract is transferring data from one entity to another. You usually don't start all over again. And one big thing is, one of the charts that Jim had in his, is that he looked at a period, I think it's a 5-year period, maybe a 3-year period, but you had 2,800 people that went through the jail. 50% of those spend 1 day or less. Of the 2,800, 50%. So, and the very, very minor, I think 7% only spent 6 months or more. TCI, Tennessee Corrections Institute, has said in the past, I've been to several meetings, they always say Cannon County has a 90% recidivism rate. I haven't been able to find that number. I haven't been able to find how it was calculated. You look at this 2,800 and 90% of them coming back. I think we need to know how many of that 2,800 have been there 3 times in a period of 3 years. Is that 2,800 heads? Is that 2,800 unduplicated, duplicated? So I guess what I'm asking is, I wouldn't schedule it in May. I would put it off to probably June. And maybe like a 2-hour session. We can,
Why don't we just set it in June then, at the June meeting? Would that be all right? Would that please the commission? And I'll have to tell you that Jim Hart would rather do it during the week than Saturday. He did say that. Correct? Is that correct, Chris?
oh yes,
Am I
yes.
correct there?
He would prefer to do it in the evening or
So-
during the day, but during the week.
So maybe we can all get with y'all as a commission, find us a date that we can do it in June. What about
Are you, the ones that were there, are you thinking about 2 hours to?
Oh, that's a lot to cover. I mean, I don't know if I'd put a time limit on it.
Okay.
Why don't we set one, and if for 2 hours, like you say, if it's not, then maybe we can come back and have another.
Break it down.
I do know that Jim said that he was available on June 15th. I can throw that out. He said
We do.
June
We-
15th. I don't know if he contacted you.
He said what?
June the 15th, which is a Thursday.
We did that.
He's good. If it needs to change, just tell me and I'll get with Jim. And
Where will we be at, here or?
There's a trial on the 15th here. We'd have to do it at
The Adams.
I move we have the workshop June 15th at 6 PM at the Adams building.
Second.
Got a motion, and we have a workshop June 15th at the Adams Committee Room, 6 o'clock. Duly second, any discussion? All in favor, aye. All opposed. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
When did you say those records were missing? What year was that?
2015 to 2019. And I won't say missing, there are different words used, inaccessible, unreliable, inadequate.
Have you consulted with any of the previous DAs or judges on this? Any of all this?
Yes, both the DA and the new ADA that's been out here. Actually, they were, the DA is on the advisory board and he was at both times, the meetings. And they're extremely supportive. The new ADA is coming in, and I'm going by what I am hearing from people from the court, and he is setting a different tone. But he is also very, very interested in. He believes in diversion programs. He loves community corrections. He would put more people in community corrections, you know, if he had the opportunity. And also the public defender. The public defender has a lot of good ideas too. So everybody has been extremely easy to work with. These folks that are here on the Substance Abuse Council are just amazing.
Thank you, Patricia,
Thanks.
so much. All right. 16.
That's a good.
Discuss vote to put $40 wheel tax on back. Do I have a motion, to put it on?
I have a question. You know, on the original ballot amendment for the wheel tax, at the bottom it reads, I asked you if it could read like this. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Cannon County Election Commission shall place upon the ballot in the next scheduled election a referendum which offers a yes or no response to the following. Yes, the $40 privilege, vehicle privilege or wheel tax levy on each required vehicle in Cannon County cease to be collected upon payment in full of the debt incurred by the original public school capital improvement sought to be funded by the 1999 Cannon County Commission by resolution on July the 17th, 1999, and subsequent ballot informative formally approved by the voters of Cannon County on September the 19th, 99. A no vote indicates the wheel tax will continue for the purpose of building, renovating, or expanding the Cannon County Public Schools. Can that be added?
Yes, that would be your motion.
Well, I'm asking first, could that be added to this?
Yes, prior to transmittal to the election commission.
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution as I had read it.
With the motion to approve as amended by Commissioner Gannon.
Yeah.
Can I see that?
Yeah, I'd like to see it myself.
See, this is my, we have, help me out, Diane. Looks like we'll have that note paid off 6/30/25. Is that correct?
We think we'll have enough paid off.
By then? Okay. So what we gotta be careful about is not putting on the ballot something that stops the wheel tax. Because we still have this note to pay off, that the people voted in 99 to use that wheel tax money to pay off. Now, it's a semantics thing where it's not very clear. I don't think the wheel tax should continue in perpetuity or continue on and on to pay for general school funds, because that's not what the ballot measure was about. But I think we need to be careful how we word it, or if we even need to word it at all, because I guess the question is, does it expire by its own terms? I mean, y'all help me out here. If we get a request for, I don't know, $30 billion to build a new school, does anybody here think that means that wheel tax has to continue? Or is it interpreted to mean that a new wheel tax has to be voted on by referendum or voted on by us?
Just our opinion, but if that new debt was taken on before the expiration, we pay off the first debt, then yes, we just.
That's what I have a problem with.
But it has to be approved by the commission. Any money, They,
And along with that you would have to figure out how to pay.
you have to have a stream, funding stream.
So what I'm reading here from Commissioner Gannon, a no vote indicates the will tax will continue for the purpose of building, renovating, or expanding the Cannon County Public Schools. I love doing this with people watching me.
Now, look, and that's been totally out there. I can have Mr. Matt Techley come anytime you want.
Because I mean, we've got, what, 8 months before the 2024 ballot to work on this?
Yeah.
This is something that Jonathan has drawn up before. The only thing I'm doing is changing where it says yes, and then adding that sentence at the bottom. So a no vote is, it won't sunset, it will continue.
But I think that modifies the original ballot.
If I'm understanding your question, when, say this goes to the ballot and the vote is no, does it stop right then? Like the 30
No,
days?
it will continue.
It will continue on and on and on with no sunset.
But also it says it will, with a yes vote, it will cease to be collected upon payment in full of the debt incurred by the original public school capital improvement. So the way I look at this, if we pass this, the original debt will still be collected, $40, until that debt is paid. If the voters say yes, it will cease. If they say no, it will continue.
I think it needs to be on the ballot, but I think it's also going to be incumbent upon the school board and the county commission and anybody that's for it to get out there and encourage people to approve a new wheel tax. Because, I mean, new jail, new schools, the new jail, our property taxes are gonna go up to build new jail. That's just reality. I mean, it just is reality. If we don't have a wheel tax and there's a new school project, because, I mean, guys, eventually we're gonna have to build a school, property taxes are gonna go up again if there's no wheel tax.
Well, it's not gonna be a will tax. They're not gonna vote.
Can I get in here just a second, because I just been reminded about parliamentary procedure here, and, we have to have a motion and a second, and then debate.
Did you make a motion?
I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Can you repeat the motion?
Now you debate.
This resolution that Jonathan originally drew up, the bottom it says, now therefore be it resolved that the Cannon County Election Commission shall place upon the ballot next scheduled election a referendum which offers a yes or no response to the following. Yes, the $40 vehicle privilege or wheel tax levy on each required vehicle in Cannon County cease to be collected upon payment in full of the debt incurred by the original public school capital improvements sought to be funded by the 1999 County Commission by resolution on July the 17th, 1999, and subsequent ballot initiative formally approved by the voters of Cannon County on September the 19th, 1999. A no vote indicates the wheel tax will continue for the purpose of building, renovating, or expanding the Cannon County Public Schools. That was a part of the original, that last sentence. It is for the debt, it would be for the purpose of building, renovating, or expanding Cannon County Public Schools.
Section.
It would continue.
Chairman,
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to say, I feel like that we are so determined to put this on a ballot. I don't think we're even looking to see if we need it on a ballot or not. And I feel like we need to think about how we're gonna pay for a school or a jail, because, I'm like Crystal, this will come off when you put it on the ballot, it'll come off. And then the taxpayers are gonna be responsible for the whole burden.
Now, it'll come off. Now, we automatically assume it'll come off, but it was voted on in 99.
Yes, but at the same time, people are saying that it was a sunset on it, but in the last meeting, it was clarified that there was no sunset on it.
And if please, if the commission would address the chair, and that way we don't all get talking at one time. Commissioner Simmons.
The last meeting or a meeting before, when we've talked about this before, it was stated by Diane that once this debt was paid, it would no longer be collected. Is that not correct, Diane? That once this debt was paid off. So if it's not gonna be collected at all, if you don't put it on the ballot, then it's done with, it's over. And then you have to go back and figure out what we're gonna do. If you put this on the ballot now and let everybody vote in this next election to continue it or to cease it, as it will anyway, I mean, it's our job, it's the school board's job, it's the citizens' job to understand whether they want to continue to pay the $40 that we're already paying, or they want to look at the possibility of another wheel tax that doesn't have to be voted on. We can put it in place without a vote. It's not the right thing to do, but as a commission, we have that power to just go ahead and set a new wheel tax. You know, putting it on the ballot puts it to the people to say what they want to do, not, just let it end. If we don't put it on the ballot, it ends. That's the way I understand all this. If we're going to quit collecting it once the debt is done, then it's over with. There's no talking point about it. It needs to be on the ballot.
Commissioner Gann.
What happens if, worst case scenario, tornado hits, tears up a school? You have debt incurred. Or becomes a roof drops on the school. It's debt incurred. So this will, by the old version, it will not end. As long as there is debt. And one thing, guys, I am not trying to take money away from the school. I mean, it's kind of seems like where I'm headed, it's not. This was voted on in 1998 or 99. It states on it that it ceases, but then as you read on through, it kind of gets to a point where, well, you don't really know. I don't know how I'm going to vote on this. I'll tell you right now. But it was approved by the voters, and now everybody's trying to make it continue, or make us make it continue. It needs to be voted on by the voters on whether they want to continue it or not. After that, I know everybody says raise taxes. That's one part of the process. There is a process that you go through. It could be a wheel tax. It could be the schools come together and say, okay, they've got to find a funding source. Their funding source could be a wheel tax. All right, is $40 going to be enough? Like Mr. Barker said, $40 in 1999 is nothing like $40 now. will 40 be enough? But if you don't let the, my opinion, if we don't let the people vote on this, you will never get another wheel tax. That's just Randy Gannon's opinion.
Anybody else?
Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner.
was it not, stated in a previous meeting that the election commission needed 90 days to get it on the ballot?
Yes.
Okay, so this is May. What is our urgency right now to get this over to them?
No.
Okay. My next question, so being the new guy, where are we in the budget? Because, I mean, we've not even seen the school's budget, what they're asking for, as far as that goes. The budget committee was meeting, but we see that in May, or, June, July, August.
We're supposed to get theirs this month. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all we actually like. That's the only,
Commissioner Gannon again, please.
As far as the rush, there's no rush, but following parliamentary procedure, with our process that we use, it has to be a motion and a second. Now, I'm throwing this out as an idea. If anybody else has any ideas, as far as the way this needs to read, I mean, I'll withdraw my motion if Mr. Lennell will withdraw his second, and we can put it on the next meeting.
Well, I
Go ahead.
agree with Mr. Nathan because, I mean, they are finishing up their budget and you would have a better idea to understand why the teachers are here and they're fighting so hard to keep this on the ballot because they're in dire needs of funding for, you know, building and, you know, other things as well. And, you know, like, you know, someone has just said, you know, they might have to find other funds. They're trying to find other funds for teachers and, you know.
I'm sorry.
You know, and other staff, you know, so it's gonna be hard. So, you know, I have to agree with him, you know, you might wanna look at their budget before you kind of rush to make this decision.
Anybody else? Hang on, did anybody else? Commissioner Sanders.
I don't feel like this is a rush. This, as long as I've lived in Cannon County, this has been a talking point. So I don't feel like we're rushing anything. I feel like we're trying to finalize something and get something accomplished. You know, I've lived in Cannon for 12 years now, and I have heard about this $40 wheel tax for 12 years. To me, we're not rushing anything. We're trying to finish and solve something, trying to get something accomplished by putting it to a ballot to get a vote on it.
But wait a minute, it was already on the ballot, huh?
All right. Commissioner Gannon.
Mr. Curtis, the new funding formula, how much will you receive more monies with this new funding formula than you did with BEP, and how much?
I address the commission.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Director Scutchbury Curtis, the answer is yes, we will receive more. The debate is how much more. And what we're looking at somewhere around 1.3 million right now that we would receive in comparison to what we received last year.
Okay, that answered my question.
That's the budget, right? So I can tell you this.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Green.
I know y'all have too, or if you hadn't, I hope you have. Looked at the budget, I've been in the Norman's office because I was interested in how we collect sales tax. I talked to Angela because I was interested in how we do property. And the one conclusion that I come to is there's two things. One, if you think that we're gonna make it in this county without wheel tax of some kind, you're mistaken. It ain't gonna work. Now, I struggle with, are we doing what we tell people we're going to do? And that's a struggle. But I think we need to, before we make a decision on this, I think we need to see a path forward from the school system. Just like we've seen presentations about the jail, we've seen presentations about other things, and it's convinced us what needs or does not need to happen. I am not clear on the path forward for the Cannon County school system. And I think before anything goes on a ballot of any kind, it's kind of like shooting at a target you can't see. Because we may be one and done on the wheel tax. If it goes on the ballot, the people need to know the alternatives. And I've been on both sides of this. There's times I want to vote, yeah, let's put it on the ballot. And I'm like, what in the world are we doing? Because we don't see a path forward. To give people the right option, they need to know what the future holds. Not 2025. So I think once we get the school's budget and a path forward and the cost of that, then we can think about what needs to be on that ballot. And I know it has to do with what was voted on years ago. But folks, you're going to turn around in a few years, once this goes on a ballot, and you're going to vote on it again. Because this county can't survive it without it. Just look at your budget. We just can't. And so I just want to throw that out there, that maybe we need to postpone until we can see a way, if this needs to go on the ballot for it to continue, then we need to have some hard numbers. I don't feel comfortable with any decision on this at this point. And that's my feeling. I just don't.
Yes, Commissioner.
Just to clarify, I'm for a wheel tax. I think a wheel tax, what's needed, but not this way. Not the way it was done, not the way it's being interpreted. That's my issue. My issue is not a wheel tax. I agree with Mr. Burnett that this county won't survive without one, but it can't be done this way. It attacks the entire integrity of the process. I feel like that we're also passing the buck to the voters instead of taking some responsibility ourselves for what we need to do. We are in a Republican form of government. We are not a quote unquote democracy. We're a representative republic. And I think that when we create these ballot measures, we are showing how scared we are to make a decision and kicking the can down the road to the voters so that 20 or 30 years later, we can throw our hands up and say, that's what I voted for. So with that being said, I am for a wheel tax, but I am not for a wheel tax this way. It needs to be on the ballot. It needs to be clarified. And then if we have to, you know what, we might have to do something that this commission in the past has had issues doing, and that's make a tough decision and actually implement a wheel tax ourselves without putting it on the ballot. Because it's what's best for the kids in this county. It's what's best for the county, regardless of whether it gets us reelected or not. But I am 100% convinced that it needs to be on the ballot.
Anyone else? Commissioner Ashton?
I'd like to say, I've been on the commission almost 20 years, 17 years actually. And we've had some tough decisions. We've even been to a place where the comptroller's office wouldn't even let us buy a fire truck. We've had some tough decisions in this time. So I know what we're looking at, but Tony is right. This county is going to go back so far back, it'll be pitiful, especially with our school system, if we try taking off a wheel tax. We're going to have to raise taxes as it is, and I don't even want to do that. But we're going to have to pay for jail. But we can't survive without the wheel tax. I don't care. I'm sorry to all the people out there that's against the wheel tax. We cannot survive without it. And I don't know how we're going to do it, or how people are going to vote on it, or what we decide. I don't know what we're going to decide. think we need to take our time and not rush this, and I know we've talked about it, we may be talking about it next year. But we got to think long and hard on this before we put it on the ballot.
Commissioner Williams.
And I agree with Ms. Ashford that, but that's where we need to, as a commission, to take some responsibility and determine if a wheel tax is necessary, how that looks. This idea that nobody's ever gonna, number one, if we come in with the premise, nobody is ever gonna vote for a wheel tax, that tells y'all you need to know as to whether the majority of people are for it. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I think that people don't like to pay taxes for stuff they don't understand. But I think if you educate people about what the taxes are for, then I don't think they have a problem with it. I have told everybody I've talked to about this jail and how the taxes are we're going to increase property tax bill this jail. And I told everybody that. But when they ask, is it for a jail? Yes. Okay. Most people can live with that because they know what it's for. And again, I think that if the issue of a wheel tax needs to come up in the future, that's where we as a representative body need to have the guts to set a wheel tax ourselves instead of kicking the can down the road to save our jobs.
Commissioner Evans.
No offense to anybody, but my main concern right now is the children. I'm not trying to make a pipeline to prison. I'm trying to focus on the kids. So when anybody talks to me, their concern is the taxes. And my thing is, I'm telling them, you know, do you want to pay the $41 or the $40 tax? Or do you want to, you know, and they're saying, well, where's it going to go? The $40 taxes goes to, you know, the schools. You know, I don't know exactly, you know, what to tell you as far as if your property taxes increase, might go to the, you know, I don't really want to, my focus is the children right now. So I really don't, you know, focus on anything else but the kids as of right now.
Commissioner Singh.
Mr. Chairman, as I was stating previously, trying to figure out why we needed to do this before the 90 days. Part of making an informed and educated decision for the county is looking at the entire picture. And as others have said, I'm not against the wheel tax. We are going to have a wheel tax. What it pays for, we may have to decide that. How much? Is $40 enough? No, it's not. It doesn't buy you anything. But I would like to see what our numbers are, because we've got a jail to look at, we've got a school to look at, and then there's the unknown that we haven't talked about. You know, this commission has to decide how much money is of the tax is going to be appropriated to the different departments. And we're talking about an income stream, a tax, whatever you want to call it, before we've got a budget in front of us for the next year to know what the department's asked for. I know the budget committee has looked at it, but we as a commission have not. So if this is May, we've not seen our budget for the next year, and we've got time to get it to the election commission. Me personally, I would just like to see some more concrete numbers, because, you know, nobody's mentioned the sales tax. You know, that's something that looks at as well. So, you know, one thing that made this pass in '99, and I remember it, is those that were for it did some campaigning. And as others have said, I've had many conversations, well, since 2012 on the school board, and even since then. But I told people, you're going to have a wheel tax. Do you want it for the jail, or do you want it for the schools? That's just the bottom line. Or do you want your property taxes to go up? So that's where I'm at, and I'm just asking that, you know, we look at the big picture before we take this step right now.
Anyone else?
I guess one question I have is there a way when, if this commission votes to put it on a referendum, that we can look at it present, past, and future. You know, is there a way to do it one and done so that we, you know, if we vote to do that, we have that big picture. It's that time, we're not budget passing July, what, May? I guess that's what I would love to see is that, I get it, I struggle with the same thing everybody else does that wants us on the ballot. But at the same time, I don't want us to sink the ship. Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to impose a will tax for schools if that's what it took, because as a commission, I'm not scared to do it at all. However, when you vote, you know, you put it out there and then you have to go back, then you're catch-22. And I don't think we need to put the people in.
Anyone else? I got a motion second. Anyone else? Call roll.
Nathan Luna,
Yes.
Nathan Sanders,
Yes.
Karen Ashford. No. Chris Singleton,
Yes.
Curtis George,
Yes.
Eddie Mears,
Yes.
Brent Brandon.
No.
Randy Gannon.
Yes, because like I said, I feel the people need to relook at this and they need to be the ones voting.
Crystal Alexander. No. Tony Burnett.
No.
Motion passed 6-4.
All right. Motion passes. Move to 17, Finance Department, Diane Hickman. Any left on six?
Okay, so we have two. And then both of these are green.
Motion to approve resolution DOE 22/23, number 8.
Got a motion to approve resolution BOE 22/23, number 8. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Number 9.
Motion to approve resolution DOE 22/23, number 9. Receive a grant from Mississippi Natural Gas Project, Hometown Help.
Motion to approve resolution BOE 22/23, number 9. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, and the last one is number 16, and that's the county general fund, and all this is just cleaning up some payroll line items. A lot of employees are at Ireland, so we only budget exactly the hours they're supposed to work, so if they work more, we don't have enough to cover, but everybody has enough in their budget to move it from somewhere else.
Clean up.
Motion to approve BA 2223-16.
Second.
Got a motion to approve resolution BA 2223-16. You second, Commissioner Ashford. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed?
And I've already given you all the reports.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Somebody please? Second, all in favor, aye? All opposed?